I'm so off today. I forgot to put us in the thing so that we pop in automatic. Yeah. Oh my god, I'll drink to that. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Same Cast, Different Day Podcast. I'm Martel Rowland.
And I'm Tina.
Oh, what's going on?
Hey, buddy.
I just realized your hair do look extra bougie. It looks different. Why it looks so different?
Because it's getting healthier and healthier.
Alright, say, show do look different. I'm like, this is a bald headed heifer. Um, so we're gonna start things off with some stuff from that we were supposed to discuss on the last week's show. So if you guys don't know, the U.S. government announced that aliens exist, and I had a
Mm.
reaction video somewhere in here to that. The shit is so small. This is what happens when you get to a certain age. Okay, here we go.
The government literally announces that aliens exist and nobody is phased.
That is literally because nobody is getting paid enough to care. Come here. At this point, we're tired of living through historical events like every other week, right? Rent too high, groceries too expensive, gas way too pricey, right? It is like the fourth day in a row where it's been 110 degrees. The alien thing is like on the back of the list right now. Somebody sent me the legitimate recipe for Texas Roadhouse's honey butter. And that was more important than the alien thing. I mean, I'll tell you guys how to make it so you can use it for your morning toast. 1 stick of salted butter. Come here. You want to leave this out for about an hour before you use it. Okay, use that. Then you're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of honey and then 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And if you really want to make it good, a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. Mix that around. You got yourself the honey butter. Use that on your toast. I promise you that's going to be 100% more helpful than aliens at this point. I'm not going to lie to you.
What the hell? Uh,
Hold on.
wait. Y'all, Tina is confusing the hell out of me right now. I don't know what's going on. She got two different boxes up here, but that's just how unfazed we were. Everybody was about this whole alien
I don't know what's happening.
thing.
Okay. I missed it. I'm sorry. Somebody was trying to call me back to back.
Oh, he was so unbothered by the whole when the government announced the alien thing that he gave us the recipe on how to make Texas Roadhouse butter.
Ooh, Texas Roadhouse butter.
Mm-hmm. I
Ooh,
played.
child.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
played for you the
child.
thing.
I'm sorry. I missed that.
And then I believe I have another reaction video.
And America, right? You guys are just acting like it's not a thing. It's going.
Bro, we ain't scared because most of us grew up in life or death situations. Raised in the war zone, we call the public education system dodging bullets and diaper sniffers. We've lived through 9/11, the war on terror, inflation, depression, financial and psychological. Now they done run out of our antidepressant meds and made food so expensive we collectively went on a diet. We ain't out here drinking cucumber and celery water because it's a new Hollywood fad and we like it. It's because food is expensive and we can't afford to be fat no more. Half of us ain't afraid to be probed. We actually like it. Have you seen how much butt stuff is on this app? Aliens show up and half the country's dating pool just expanded. The other half of the country ain't afraid because they just hoping the aliens ask to be taken to our leaders so that for once we can see them get fucked too. Americans have reached their max fuck around find out level. You can only scare somebody so much before they feel at home in it. We out here in a toxic ass relationship with our government and we just hoping the aliens is the new boyfriends that's gonna whisk us away. Aliens show up and it ain't gonna be no invasion. It's gonna be a coup because half of us are out here hoping they'll let us help them take over.
I like her.
Swear when I saw these two videos, I said, yeah, nobody gave a fuck about these aliens. When they announced that aliens, you would have thought that world would have went like at least the country would have went crazy or something would have happened. But like
Man,
no,
we've been talking about aliens publicly for like 60 plus years, man. Like,
right. It's just funny how they finally announced it and life just continued on like nothing happened.
so they did announce it, but they didn't. What happened was he was a captain. I forgot what branch of the military he was in. He was in a congressional hearing and he was testifying about how there were remains and debris that had been classified as being, I forgot the phrase he used, but basically alien. And he went to go check it out and he was denied access. And then after he started asking questions, he was systematically kind of shut out of his role, like he was retaliated against.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened to him. And I think it was a panel of about 3 people that was with him speaking on these things. So they technically don't have any proof, but they have proof. So he's the whistleblower and he's, a high ranking whistleblower. So it's really interesting to see if they're going to blow the lid on whatever like lifelong investigation into the world unknown is going to happen. Honestly, it's great to
Right.
see how they just losing traction with their cover-ups. But I mean, we've been new, right?
Right.
Because in my head, it's like if we exist on this world with all these other different organisms, why would there not be life somewhere else? Like it's just
Right.
logical, right?
What if Earth is the hood of the galaxy?
Mm, I don't think Earth is the hood of the galaxy. I think it would be more like, I don't know. I'm feeling Saturn is going to be bougie.
Mhm.
I feel like it might either be Mars or Jupiter, somewhere around in there.
Oh, Mars.
I'm thinking it might be Mars or Jupiter, right? Because is Mars closer to Earth than Venus is? Or is Venus closer to Mars? I mean, closer to Earth. I think Venus might be closer to Earth. I'm not sure. Either which way,
I think isn't it Mars if it's in order?
no, I'm saying closer in distance to Earth. So
Oh,
I'm thinking about conditions that would be right for life to live, which is why we call a lot of aliens Martians, because they have proved that, through soil samples and all of that, that Mars has a lot of what Earth has, and it's probable that life can be sustained on Mars.
because I think Mars is like, ooh, I think if you was to travel to Mars and back, I think it's like what they said, like a 4 or 5 year trip.
Right, but then aren't we separated from Mars by the asteroid belt?
Oh, I'm not sure.
So I think it's the first 3 planets, the asteroid belt, and then the rest of them. That's why I think Venus is closer than to Earth in distance. I think.
Mhm.
Don't quote me on that. Don't flag this motherfucking video either. It's
Right.
speculation. It's a hypothesis.
Right.
So we'll have to follow up on that if I remember correctly. But I would think Venus would be a little bit too warm for life similar to Earth. Not saying that other life can't, exist, but they always say aliens are Martians only because Mars is the more probable planet to have life somewhat similar to what's on Earth, based
Yeah,
on
I think.
composition of the planet, based on the atmosphere.
Yeah, because I think the only thing that Mars is missing basically is water.
Water. Hmm.
And other than that, it's just exactly like Earth. That's up. It's dark there all the time. So it's like it'd be like living in darkness.
Mm,
Because I don't think they have like day and night like how we do, like how we can look up at the sky and shit. Like I don't think you can do that on Mars.
but why though? Because it's further away from the sun. So yes, the day night thing is going to be different. Just like the closer you get to the sun, you probably have more sunlight than darkness and also more heat.
Right.
Because, and then I believe their years would be shorter the closer you get to the sun because you're going around the sun, and going around the sun is how we delineate a year. It takes
Right.
the 365 and a quarter days to rotate around the sun. And then our internal rotation is a 24-hour period. So you got to think about that too, how fast a planet is spinning. So if
Hmm.
Mars is rotating slower than us, then yes, it would have more darkness. Does that make
Right.
sense? In certain areas of
Hmm.
the planet. I'm just
Makes
nerdy for
sense.
no reason. I'm sorry, y'all. Just information that I have for no reason.
uh, so to keep things going, I'm just playing some of the clips that we didn't get through from last week, and then there was a story that Tina was following earlier this year. Before we get to those clips, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for Megan Thee Stallion. God damn, I'm gonna have a drink for him.
I'm not. I'm gonna have a drink for Meg.
Well, yeah, drink for both. Hell, 10 years to too that long, and she got what she was gonna go out to get. So,
So nope, I'm not gonna say that. She was looking for she so okay, let me back up. A lot of people are kind of torn in between who was telling the truth, right?
hmm,
Okay. That's not up to us. That's up to a court of law and a jury. The jury decided he was guilty, and then the judge decided his sentence, right?
hmm,
Based on the crimes committed. Okay. So I feel like she wasn't seeking to embarrass him. I never felt like she was trying to embarrass him, because the majority of black women never want to put spotlight on a black man in that way. But at the same time, I feel like domestic violence or abuse towards women, or whatever you want to call it, um, has been large, like it's been like slaps on the wrist type of
hmm.
thing. And I also feel like what would have happened if he didn't get stopped in his tracks like this, right? So say say they never really brought up charges, or they brought up charges on him and he was dismissed, or they brought up charges on him and he was given a slap on the wrist, in terms of his sentencing, right?
Right,
What would have happened once he was released, or if he didn't even get, suffer consequences of his actions, his supposed actions? Um, would he have retaliated against her in another manner? Would he have sent people after her in a certain manner? You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
Like, would he have been harassing her? Would he have been, you know, I don't feel like it's a funny situation. Okay. And it's been a lot of women that have had guns pulled out on them and have not survived, you know. And then the whole situation was just real, it was just real different, you know. And to me, this is this domestic dispute, because um she did admit that they were seeing each other, but then at the same time it had something to do with the best friend. Like, the best friend, he was trying to talk to the best friend before, or maybe no, he was trying to talk to the best friend before and ended up messing around with her, meaning Meg. And then they were at a party, everybody was intoxicated, and then he was trying to hit on Kylie, right? Jenner, because it was Kylie Jenner's party that
hmm.
everything, the aftermath of everything happened. So I feel like this is a very common occurrence, right? For black women, or women in general, where you have a guy, that shows interest in you. You start seeing each other, y'all at a function together, and he's flirting with somebody else. You're going to get angry. You're going to approach him. Many different women handle situations differently. If somebody's been drinking, they get a little bit inhibitions lower. They get a little bit bold. I call it liquid courage. And she said something to him, right? She was ready to leave. She was ready to go or whatever. They get so the main mistake was we're in the car together because that's where it all happened. So them being in the car together, I mean, I don't see why Meg would back down on she was standing 10 toes down on what she was talking about, basically. Is what it sounded like to me. He didn't like it. It started to get a little bit violent. They never said Meg, swung, what I'm saying, hit him or anything, attacked him or anything like that. It sounds like everything was verbal. I don't know why it came about that a gun had to be pulled and people were being shot. But the fact of the matter is, what if she hadn't been shot in her foot? What if it was
Right.
a
It could have been.
headshot,
It could have
chest
been a
shot?
lot
What if it
worse.
was? What if it was um a life-threatening injury, right?
Right.
So things like that. And I feel like because it wasn't a life-threatening injury, people mock what went on. But I feel like she got lucky
Mm-hmm.
in my eyes. I feel like
Oh,
she
hey,
got
Tori.
I feel like she got lucky. Um oh no.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, he on his tablet.
Whoa, what's that? I might have to take an intermission to change him. Um but I feel like 10 years. I'm not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. Of course, you're supposed to be a lawyer before you become a judge in a criminal court, right? So the judge saw fit to give him 10 years. That was not the maximum, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that he was facing. But, when anytime a judge considers sentencing, they also incorporate any violent actions that you had in the past, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if he was considered to be a violent person in the past, then those contribute to what the sentencing would entail. Now, they have the whole appeals and all of that, so on and so forth. Like he's not just going to sit quietly in jail. He's going to appeal. That's his right that he has. He's not going to
Right.
do the entire 10 years. Okay. Um, Even if they deny him his appeal, if he have good behavior, I can't remember where they were at when this happened, but every state has their own stipulations as to how much of a sentence you have to serve before you can get paroled for like things like good behavior.
Right.
Okay. So I take this as a humbling experience for everybody involved. Um, as far as maturity, you know, could she have handled it a different way? Yes, she could have. Could he have handled it a different way? Yes, he could have. If you have an angry, irate woman approaching you because she has feelings for you or whatever private conversation y'all had, and then you're blatantly or you're flirting in front of her, you know, mm, you might want to think twice about that. He could have just removed himself from the situation. He didn't have to get in the car with her, knowing that she was angry already. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, she could have just went on about her business, or enjoying the rest of the party, or she could have left and then she could have addressed it at a different time. Okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like they were even such a couple that this should have erupted into something like this. But I would pray for both of them because her personal life has been put in a spotlight as his. But I feel like there should be a learning experience for both of them. Now, 10 years, because I don't really know how long, I don't know how old Tory Lanez is. It's a big chunk of his life, but it's not his entire life because I feel like he's still young enough for X, Y, and Z, right? I don't know if he has any children because I didn't look that deep into it. But I know he can take that opportunity to turn some things around for him because we spoke about this on the podcast last time about how things are offered to people who are incarcerated, right? You can get
Mm-hmm.
jobs, you can get a better education, you can get this, that, and the other. So it's like they try to rehab you. So when you're put back out into the general population, you are a better person. And I mean, he had his whole music career, and I'm not gonna say, I've listened to a lot of his music before. He's not bad. Okay. So he has a talent. So I feel like there is like now you got to make those connections. There's a lot of people who have put out albums, so on and so forth, while they were incarcerated, or rapping to me is a form of poetry. Release some poetry, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel. I don't know how you feel about his 10-year sentence. I know a lot of people feel like it's steep. 10 years for a non-fatal injury, the question is why? So why do you think he got 10 years?
Because he's a rapper. I don't know. I just feel like they try to make an example out of him.
So do
Like
you feel like
like
it was you so okay, so I got a question for you. Do you feel like it was because of race or because of occupation?
occupation.
So do you believe if somebody like Eminem did the same thing, he would face 10 years as well?
No.
Okay, so it's more race.
No, I mean it's like occupation. I mean it's because I feel like Eminem is more popular. It has a
I feel
bigger
like that
fan
has
base.
nothing to do with it, depending because so you have to think about what Eminem raps about.
He has rapped about some crazy
In
shit.
his known history, personal history, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been in trouble before. He's had a volatile past. He's had a volatile past with his baby mama.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Did any of that ever play out publicly though?
So that's what I'm saying.
Like his was behind closed doors. So if he ever,
And that's what I'm
like
saying.
we
So to
know
me,
about it
that's the
because
difference.
he rapped about it.
That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
So do I feel like they're trying to make an example out of him? Yes. But if you know anything about law, most laws are based on when a lawyer argues something in court is based on precedents. So they rewrite laws based on precedents and what a judge um like their final say so or verdict or sentencing or the outcome of the trial.
Well,
So this
don't
may be
they
this
don't in
may be
some,
precedent.
but don't in some states the jury do or the jury does a recommendation on the
Yes, they
sentence,
do.
and then the judge will be like, "Well, the jury recommended 15 years. I'm going to give you 10 type stuff."
That's in all courts of law.
Okay.
So, like I said, he didn't get the maximum penalty. He did not.
I
He
that
did.
he, I mean, to me, I look at it like you said. He gonna do. He got served six to 10 years. He's probably not gonna do the full 10. He might do 5 at the most, and they gonna let him out.
I think I think it's usually about 75% of your sentence, so maybe about like 7 years, and then he can get paroled if he doesn't win an
Because
appeal.
I'm looking at it as in like I feel like they've been targeting a lot of artists, and I feel like they're
With
making an
RICO
example out of
charges,
these,
though. With
huh?
RICO charges.
RICO charges.
RICO charges, RICO. Like they're talking about guns, drugs, so on and so forth. This
Oh,
is a domestic dispute.
I
So
mean,
to me,
yeah.
this.
I
So to
mean,
me,
even with R. Kelly, then it would Bill. What was it? Bill Cosby. I just
no,
feel maybe
no.
it is a
So
race thing.
right, that's different. That's what I'm saying. To me, this is a precedent, but it's like I would have to look back at other court cases where a significant other shot and caused bodily injury to another person in a domestic dispute. So that's how the court operates.
Yeah, I mean, as far as most cases I've seen where I'll be watching it, when mother be watching the old lady shows, more than likely, whether it's male or female, they always ended up dead. Like I've never seen one where
So
they
that's
like
so
where they
that's my
survived.
point. So that's my point. She got
Yeah,
out
so
lucky.
right. Because whether if it was the woman who shot the man or the man who shot the woman, they kind of always ended up dead, and they ended up trying to cover up the murder somehow.
Yep. Yep. Why though? Why does it get to that point? Because a lot of times when people report domestic disputes and they go get restraining orders.
Cause it be all like you gotta have proof that they're do you have proof that they're doing this proof. I was like, if I would be like, how do you expect for me to videotape somebody whooping my ass?
But see, that's the difference. Hers was caught on camera outside of the people that were involved. You get what I'm saying? It
Hmm.
was a large police
Oh,
presence
that's
because
why.
it was, you get what I'm saying? So that's what
Hmm.
I'm saying. So that's why his sentence carried so heavy.
That and I just feel like because once again it was a very high profile case, and I feel like if this was like a normal case that happened in the hood, like and it was a domestic violence case, like I know people who went through domestic violence, and the person who did it is still either a walking the streets, or two they did go to jail, but it was like they went to jail for like a few months or a year or two, and they was back out on the streets.
So high profile for what community though?
I believe because of where the incident happened and where it played out
Exactly.
at, and
Exactly.
because it
That
was at
plays a big part.
a
Yes.
party for a certain
For
group of people, that's why it played out the way that it did, and that's why he got the sentencing that he did.
So that's why I said each state has their own stipulations on
Mm-hmm.
things, right?
Right.
So I feel like for instance, if you're in California, if he was a two-time felon and that was his third strike, he could go away from life, regardless,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think that plays a big part. A lot of people kind of get lost in just what actually happened, and they don't even consider all the things that's why you got your lawyer, you got your judge, you got your jury. That's their job. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't read enough into the law to really figure out why he got the sentence that he got. It
True.
wasn't Meg, it had nothing to do with Meg the Stallion. She got up there and testified like she was supposed to, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she had a lawyer, he had a lawyer, they had a jury. The jury is picked by the lawyers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So each lawyer has the opportunity to get rid of a juror that they feel is going to harm their case.
Right.
And they still found him guilty. And then, like you said, they can recommend whatever the sentence is, but then it's up to the judge to rule down a final sentencing based
Mm-hmm.
on, because it's their job to know precedents in a
Yeah,
case.
and everything is probably based off his history too. So they probably went through whatever his past history was. Like, oh, you got a history of doing this, or you got a history of being violent. So this is why I'm giving you this sentence.
And they should. That should be
Mm-hmm.
across the board for anybody. You know, I don't want to ever, I don't, so that's my thing. I don't want to be shot in the foot and that person gets a few months in jail. that should be taken
I agree.
seriously. And then they got to take into account if he was a felon. I don't know. Okay. Was he supposed to be in possession of a handgun? Was the handgun registered? You know, I don't, it wasn't even his gun, from what I understand, right?
Right.
It was just in the
Like what?
car. I thought it was just in the car. I can't remember.
I don't know. I
You
have
know,
no idea.
so all of that plays a part.
True.
So then it brings me back to how I feel about situations where, you know, I always tell women if they feel like they are not in a relationship, friendship, or whatever it is, it don't matter. Pull
Mm-hmm.
back for your own safety, because if that person is not giving you what you want out of a friendship, out of a relationship, it's time to go. Because even if they weren't sleeping together, if they were just friends and it escalated to this manner, it could have got still went the same way. You see what I'm saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm like, what that say? So I feel like that, like I said, this is a learning experience for a lot of people, me included, because I've been in situations where I've been the bigger person and I walked away from a situation and a person was persistent or they became angry because I wasn't accepting of their behavior.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, and I've been stalked. I've been all of that. I've had firearms pulled on me in my own home. You know, it's been a lot of things to that. So that's why I identify with this case greatly. I mean, I'm gonna just put it out there.
Merry Christmas.
Hmm.
um, I was trying to think of what the next thing was, but I couldn't remember. So
I'm
we just
sorry I took up the time. I'm sorry.
no, it's all right. It's all right. So we can play the next clip and we can go from there because I don't forgot.
Okay.
Boy, howdy, I sure am enjoying all these strikes, finally demanding our fair share from the ruling class. Aliens. What? Aliens. Aliens exist, and we have them somewhere. Cool. Anyway, about these strikes. Do you not care about aliens? Let me ask you a question. You guys just voted against making food a human right, didn't you? Yes. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, you were the only ones on this fucking rock to do so, right? Yes. Okay, so are the aliens gonna do anything about that? Are they gonna magically change your mind? No. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, follow-up question. Are they gonna do anything about these living corpses blue screening mid-sentence in our government? No. Yeah, somehow I didn't think so either. All right, I got a couple more questions for you. Are they going to do anything about maybe helping me with the rent? Because there's been a leak in my water heater for the last month that my landlord refuses to fix, but he still wants to raise my rent. Are they going to do anything about that? No. Okay, last question, and I need you to think hard about this one, okay? Are the aliens gonna help us with climate change? Are they gonna do anything about, I don't know, these rising ocean temperatures that are making everything unbearably hot so that we're not out here figuratively and literally dying from the heat and the humidity? No. Yeah, I didn't think so. So to answer your question, no, I don't give a single solitary fuck about aliens.
I second that.
Right. Oh,
So,
I
so,
haven't.
so, so I really do feel like that the only reason why that was televised was to be a distraction.
And it
I mean,
distracted nobody.
so it distracted nobody. It didn't. But at the same time, like they they tried to keep this secret for so long, and it's like, why now are they coming forth? Are why now are they allowing a congressional hearing about something like this?
because somebody somewhere done fucked up and they trying to figure out how to cover up that fuck up in the public.
They want the public to be accepting to it, but we don't care.
That too.
So it's like on to the next because right here, right now, we don't have an active alien invasion. So my thing is, if it
This we
really
do. It's
is
called Mitch
aliens,
McConnell.
huh?
It's called Mitch McConnell.
Okay. Who is that?
The Speaker of the House, Mitch McConnell.
Oh, him.
That man
Yeah.
that looked like that man that looked like a
hmm
turtle who just stared off
hmm
into space in the middle of his press
hmm
conference.
hmm So I feel
Our
like it's
government is
great.
alien.
I feel like it's great. It's coming to light, but everything has its own time, and that time ain't right now. I feel like you bringing it to light, but then you still telling us that you don't have any proof.
Right.
So we have proof of global warming. We have proof of poverty. We have proof of um, unfair wages, right? We have proof of all of that. It didn't UPS just go on a strike and then they got awarded what is it, 40 something dollars an hour?
I need to go on strike. Mm, I did
You
not know
work in the
that.
healthcare field, you can't strike.
What?
I'm pretty sure your job has a clause that says you cannot strike.
Everybody can call in and
I remember back in the day when I was working for the state where we had a union and I could strike. And then they voted to get rid of the union
yeah, we
because of
don't
that.
have a union.
That's what I'm saying. We need to
Thank
bring
you,
back
Scott
unions.
Walker. You and your collective bargaining bullshit. Um, so let me move into this next clip because I don't have no idea what it is because y'all know we still gotta get about to talk about the Alabama sweet tea party.
Oh Lord.
Do you guys understand how bad it is in Florida right now? You cannot insure your home.
Watch Muscle's video. It is insanely disgusting living here in Florida. I'm not gonna lie. We were watching the 6 o'clock news last night, and I was watching it with my father, seeing how State Farm is pulling out of Florida. And I was thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, what the hell happens if our insurance company leaves Florida? I purchased this house in 2016. Our homeowner's insurance at the time was $2,000 a year. In the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years, it has quadrupled from $2,000 to $6,000 a year, which has caused our 30-year fixed rate mortgage obviously to increase because we have it all rolled into one. In 2018, my roof was destroyed from a hurricane, completely taken off, just fucked up. They had to replace the whole fucking thing. So I have a brand new roof, but the materials are bad. I have a 15-year warranty on this roof, so I reached out to the company who installed the roof, and I let them know, hey, there's granules just pouring off the roof, just pouring off, filling up my gutters, fucking up my gutter system, fucking up my pool deck. And you have a contract with me for 15 years that says all materials are guaranteed. So what do they have me do? Instead of coming out and fixing it and replacing the materials and apologizing for using shitty ass materials, they have me file a claim with the material company, the manufacturer of the shingles. So I'm waiting to see how that fucking goes. In the meantime, I believe I have a lawsuit. And I'm terrified that my homeowner's insurance is going to find out that my roof is shoddy and drop me in the middle of hurricane season. I fucking hate it here.
Baby, baby.
Okay, so I have a lot of opinions on this. Number one, State Farm is the homeowners insurance company that I go through. They did increase my insurance for about $100, I think. So I got to pay $100 extra every month on my mortgage now. and I only had my house for 2 years. So I'm like, how's this gonna go? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, if you insure a state like Florida, knowing they get hurricanes, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then you pull out, I feel like there should be some type of something in the court of law where they would be penalized, right?
Right.
And then number three, when you go get the homeowners insurance, they always want to make the deal sweet. So they say, "Oh, we have a lot of contractors that we have." So here they give you the option to pick a contractor that you want, but they do have a list of contractors that they would like for you to work with. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a situation where your whole fucking roof gets ripped off because of a hurricane, the contractors that work with the insurance companies do guarantee expedited process, meaning she probably got her roof faster than she would have if she would have picked her own roofing company. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, I'm supposed to trust my insurance company with the expedited process and the quality of the work, right? So
Right.
now, going even deeper into that, when you have a contractor, right? I'm trusting you to do your due diligence because it's your job on what materials you use on a job.
Right.
And then when you give me a 15-year warranty, I don't expect for you to push it off on somebody else, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna give you an example. I got my first floor bathroom redone through a company here in Wisconsin. I'm not sure. They might be national. I'm not sure. Whatever. They gave me a lifetime warranty. And then they also told me, hey, if you have any issues with your remodel your bathroom, you need to contact us first because we handle it first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the type of warranty that I'm looking for. And a lot of people need to educate themselves and read the fine print because if, I ask those questions, you know, if if you have a defective material, who do I come back and ask? I
Right.
ask that stuff. I ask, and it sucks um that is happening. But have we had any hurricanes? Well, it's coming up on hurricane season.
Yeah.
I don't remember if last hurricane season was especially bad.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I know there's some that hit, but I don't think it was none where it was like newsworthy.
I feel like during COVID, we had a very, very bad hurricane season because one of the hurricanes was named after my daddy. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane
No,
Harvey.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think, but then since then though, like last year, I don't think
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
no.
Nope. So for them to, I don't know how new that video is, but for State Farm to pull out of Florida, to me, I feel like they're going bankrupt because also they pulled back off of insuring Kias.
Well, they was losing money with Kias, with them being totaled out, and then they backed out of Florida because of the governor and the shit that he's pulling there. So a lot of big businesses have been pulling out of Florida due
But
to
at the
the
same
governor.
time, but at the same time, I have State Farm for my car insurance also, and I have a Kia. They never told me they wouldn't insure my Kia.
I mean, yeah,
So
I, I don't think I don't think
I
I
feel
think
like
it's
here,
only certain people, or depending on where they live. You live in an area where a lot of key Kias are being stolen, then they're like, yeah, we're not going to insure your car.
Okay.
But they're just like some people who, depend on where you live at, your car insurance is gonna cost more than somebody who live in a certain in a different part of the city.
Okay. So I'm going to rebuttal that and let you know that when I initially got my Kia, okay, this shit was running rampant with Kias being stolen. And you already know where I used to live at.
Hmm.
They never adjusted the cost of my car insurance based on when I moved.
Yeah, but they didn't do the whole adjustment thing till like last year. Like it
They
took
st-
them some
so,
it took them years before they adjusted the cost
but
and
they
stopped insuring
still
them.
right, but they still so a lot of things go into car insurance, right? Your driving record, what you drive, where you live at, the color of your car, all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, and I think
The
one
age
of
of
the
your
major
car.
reasons, but it's not just State Farm dropping Kia people too, because a lot of insurance companies doing it because they refuse Kia
And I
refuse to put the
understand that, but we
recall on
talking
their
about State
cars
Farm
to
right now.
huh.
I understand that, but we talking about State Farm right
Oh,
now.
I'm just because they just like because insurance companies
We talking about State Farm.
they have
We
been
talking about,
asking Kia to do a recall on their cars and fix this make them to improve their theft system, which they
but I
haven't
told you
done.
what Kia sent out to me. They sent out a notification and said, "Hey, bring your Kia in, and we will install X, Y, and Z, so your Kia can't be stolen."
Honestly, I ain't know nothing about that.
I did tell you that. They sent me out a letter.
Mm.
So for full disclosure for everybody listening, my Kia is not a push button start. Okay. So the majority of Kias that were being stolen were push button start. And the letter I received stated that um they were being stolen because they could place something similar to a phone charger. I don't know what kind of phone charger.
The old ones,
And
not the USB. The wearables were before USB C before they switched to those, the regular
the
USB.
micro USB.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were using those to start these cars, right? So, and then I also read in the letter where they had opted out on their newer models to not include, I don't know, whatever kind of security system or whatever have you, that will stop these type of thefts.
Mhm.
So now they did not issue a recall, but it's more of a voluntary type of thing where you can bring in your car, and if you have suspicions of your car possibly being stolen, to bring it in, and they will equip it with whatever kind of like a kill switch.
Mhm.
Where if you don't have the fob on you, if you go so a certain amount of distance, then it cuts off, right?
Right.
I don't have that problem because I have a key. That is the reason why I have never bought a push button start car. That is the main reason why my key is a 2014. It does not have a push button start. It has a key to start the engine. Because if you're gonna steal my car, you're gonna have to steal it the old fashioned way. And and I use a club. So unless you're
Mhm.
putting out holes in the steering wheel, you ain't going nowhere in my car.
And I think with Kia when they designed their cars, like they were still putting it in the steering column, like even with the push button starts area, it was still in the steering column, like a lot of the stuff. So like other car makers, they moved it from the steering column.
It's
So like
more like
it's
in
in
the
in
center
the
column.
it's in the center column in your gear shift area now for which will
Mm,
make it a lot harder for them to steal the car. But like I said, mine's have a kill switch and a DNA tracking system in there installed.
oh, I got to talk to you about your car off air.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
I read something about it today.
Oh.
Anywho, but I feel like again, mm, I feel like State Farm is making excuses to why they're pulling out. Honestly, and I feel like they're feeling the effects of the pandemic and inflation. Honestly. I think that's what it is. I don't think it has nothing to do with anything because Florida has always had hurricane season.
Mm-hmm.
Always, always. Right. And then you're that one specific state you're pulling back out of and not the other states that have hurricanes.
You're right. It's all to me. It's just all politics. Like I said, like a lot of like the State Farm wasn't the only big business to pull out of Florida. A lot of businesses has pulled out of Florida. Like people who had conventions and stuff there, they all refused to go to Florida because of the governor.
But
So like a lot of the tourist revenue that Florida depend on, they're not getting it because a lot of people are just not going to Florida.
I feel like these companies should be fined. Like I said, should be fined for pulling out like that.
Oh yeah.
Because the people don't so the people have a say so on who they elect, but you can't pinpoint who elected for who. So if you had a lot of people that voted against the current governor and they're still being punished for whatever he's doing, it's not their fault.
Right.
So that's my thoughts on that.
So while Torian be fussy, we can get into the Alabama Sweet Tea Party, and we're going to play our first clip right now and discuss.
It's time to break down the fight heard around the world. You've seen the video, but nobody has pointed out the very particular.
I don't know if that video is really appropriate for this, so we're gonna move on to the next one. Here we go.
That shit might fly in the 40s, surprise bitch. Try that in 2023. You'll get a chair in the face for free. You see, your own is laughing in your face. You crossed that line and it's a shame, but you fucked around and got the tea. 'Cause you tried that in 2023. Yeah!
The fact that people from the other caucus have got in on this is ridiculous. So if you guys don't know, basically there's a group of people that were on a boat that had just left a Trump rally. A bigger boat was trying to pull in a port for they could release their passengers. They were just stuck on the river, lake, whatever it was, and these people refused to move the boat. The security guy, the guy who works the dock, went over there, started untying the boat, like, "Hey, you need to move this shit." And then next thing you know, they get to jumping him. He tossed the hat. And a whole bunch of black people show up and start whipping everybody ass. So let's see.
Okay, so I don't know whether to call him a captain or not, but the black guy that tossed his hat in the air had been waiting a long time to dock the boat. He had a boat full of passengers and need to get off, and I believe it was a smaller boat that was in the way.
Yeah, it's a smaller boat, a smaller personal boat.
Yep, and they didn't want to move. And from what I understand, when I read more into it, there were some racial obscenities being yelled to the person across the hat. And he was attacked after that. I don't know what was said to make the one person attack the black guy, because we don't have that part of it. But either way, oh boy was wrong for hitting him. And it was like everybody came to his rescue, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Even Aquaman.
And I feel like we don't really know the connections to these people that helped out the guy that tossed the hat, but they came to his rescue. And I do feel like, I think three people turned themselves in when I read this morning. And, they're getting hit with misdemeanor charges. No hate crimes have been issued as of yet, but they do have witnesses saying that this person called the black person a nigger, and basically told him he wasn't going to move. So I think it's going to fall back on what are the rules and regulations. as far as a person occupying the space like that, even if they have the authority to occupy that space. When you had a larger boat coming in, I'm pretty sure that larger boat had a set schedule to come and dock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then people just get beside themselves and then want to be, martyrs to whatever they feel like their cause is. And this is what happened. So you had the one young man that was swimming across the river or lake or whatever it was, the dock, in between the dock and wherever he came from, because we don't know where he actually launched from. But he came across, and so for me, what's bothersome for me is how the person who turned himself in, the very first person that turned himself in, I believe he owned some type of restaurant or something like that. He sat up there and said that he was a victim, that he didn't hit the guy, that he was trying to break it up when he had actually was like one of the first people who threw hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, not only is his image suffering, but his livelihood, his business that he has is suffering because people have been going online and putting out reviews about him. But for you to engage with something like that, and I don't know if alcohol was included. I feel like alcohol is always included in shit like that. But now you have a whole debacle going on, and people inputting themselves that really didn't have anything to do with it. So that's the problem, right? In reality, you had a bunch of people that inputted themselves in it that weren't being attacked. Okay. Where the court of law is going to say, well, you should have just called the police. Police did show up. People were still fighting and doing things. Then you had the guy with the chair. I don't know what he had to do with it, but he was smacking the one guy on his head. But then he turned around and smacked the lady that was on the ground already after being assaulted by two other people. He hit her on the head with the chair. He's probably going to go to jail because rules of combat say that when a person is no longer a threat, you're not supposed to engage. Unfortunately, I'm only here to just be a neutral party. Like, clearly it was black against white, which I hate in 2023, right? And then for something as simple as that, one guy was trying to do his job and somebody else was preventing him from doing his job. But then what do you do when you're attacked? And kudos to the people that came to his rescue. But at the same time, again, a lot of this could have been handled in a totally different way.
It was like 52 people on 8.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me head into this next clip. So I'm running over time. So let me head into this next clip real fast.
You see what happened in Alabama?
Mm-hmm. Them white folk tried that in a small town.
When he tossed that hat like Bobby Shmurda?
It was basically a bat symbol.
Bet they thought Wakanda Forever was just a Marvel movie.
Until Aquaman showed up.
And the chairman of the board walked.
Oh, he summoned that chair like it was Thor's hammer.
He who be worthy.
All just because a black man was doing his job.
And they jumped it.
The caucasity.
I know. Jesus.
Under the boardwalk. They f***ed around and found out. Under the boardwalk.
They took a chair to their mouth.
Oh, yeah, get back to work. Under the boardwalk. Boardwalk.
Y'all don't know nothing about that song.
You can't take black folks nowhere. I swear to you.
Y'all don't know nothing about that song, though.
Oh my God! I think he had made a second video. Let's
Here with the Montgomery chair. So,
What happened?
Well, first I saw the pasty partridge family jump my guy. And I'm white, but I'm anti-racist.
Right.
Like, you remember that Rosa Parks seat?
Yeah.
That was my granddaddy.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm a chair, but I'm a stand up for what's right.
Of course.
So me and the homies started performing a concerto.
Naturally.
Handing out charitable ass whoopings.
Now, what did you think of the man that swam over?
Maybe now they'll believe in a black mermaid.
True.
A great philosopher once said, don't start no won't be no
Lil Jon said that.
Exactly.
Where was your wife this whole time?
Sitting on the dock of the bay, watching them white folks catch that fade.
Beautiful.
I love it. You said, watching the white folks catch that fade. Hey, sitting on the dock of the bay. Hey, quick history lesson. That guy that sang that song, he was flying to our town and died in a plane crash.
Hey, that's about the plane crash. It's like a field somewhere, didn't it? Right?
It what?
Didn't it go like crash into like a field? I can't remember where.
Yep.
And was it Indiana or something?
No, I thought he
do
died
remember.
here. Otis Redding? I'm finna look it up right now.
Well, while she looking it up, we're gonna play our next clip.
There's a big conspiracy about who the real victims are when it comes to the riverfront brawl in Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm gonna expose it. And guys, make sure and click the plus sign, sound up in the comments, tell me what you think. I'll let you look and we'll discuss.
A woman has been hit with a folding chair, and the internet is laughing. We are the problem. I just want to take a second to say that I think that what happened was egregious, and I think that it should be the highlight nobody is talking about. Nobody wants to stop and really reflect and think about how terrifying and traumatic that it must have been to be in that situation. Like, can you guys really just stop for a second? Stop with the jokes, stop with all the BS back and forth, and just really take a second to think about how difficult it must have been. How terrifying it must have been to be that damn chair. That beautiful chair is minding its business, doing its job, and the next thing you know, it's hitting something useless in the side of the head. And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's thinking about how that chair must feel right now to know that there's a gigantic dent in the place that should have been for sitting, and now it's for thinking. I think it was Martin Luther King who once said that a chair is the greatest gift a man could have.
What do you guys think now that the real victim has been exposed? Sound up in the comments and click the plus sign. I've got more.
Watching the ships rolling in. Then I watch them roll
Peter, why are you
away.
trying to get us kicked off alive?
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
You gonna get us kicked off? That's copyright.
Okay. So, anywho, I looked it up. Otis Redding was flying from Ohio to Madison, Wisconsin. He was 4 miles outside of Madison when he had just bought his own private jet. Okay, way back in the day. So he was doing good.
Mm-hmm.
They hit some fog, some turbulence, and they went down 4 miles outside of Madison, Wisconsin. That's why I said I thought he died here.
I didn't know. I thought it was somewhere like one of the other states on the way here. I didn't know it happened here.
It happened here. You best
Damn
believe
you,
my mom and daddy
Wisconsin.
told me that. Yep.
I blame Tina generation.
No, I'm gonna have to bump sitting on the dock of the bay now.
Okay, with you. We got 2 more clips, and then me and Tina is gonna head out to next week. We get closer to that season finale, so y'all let us know what kind of shenanigans y'all want on that season finale. Let's get into this next clip.
Juneteenth came twice this year. August 5th is to black people what January 6th is to them. Only this time we stormed the cracker. Never in the history of Negrodom has a folding chair been this historic and this symbolic to black people. Black people ain't been this united in Montgomery since the boycott. That brother just dropped a new single, Try Me in a Small Town. Boy, when that brother threw his hat in the air like Bobby Shmurda, it summoned the Negro Avengers, and they jumped into action doing the shmoney dance all up and down their ass. Them folks saw all them Negroes pull up on that ferry and said, we need a bigger boat. Aquaman swam his ass across that river like he just got done watching Wakanda Forever. Who said black people can't swim? He Holly Bailey'd his ass right on across that water because he wanted to be a part of that world. Now we know why they didn't want us learning how to swim during segregation. Are those Negroes in the water? Drain the pool. The enrollment for black swim lessons just went up 200%. The YMCA about to be lit. I don't care. I'm telling my kids this was the Boston Tea Party. I think Lizzo told them white folks not to move that boat. She's like, I'm just glad they ain't talking about me.
Okay, so much shade. So much shade. So much shade.
That was so much. Oh my God. Oh
And
my
I want
God.
to say, I am a black person that knows how to swim very well. I grew up swimming. So not all black people don't know how to swim. I think you don't know how to swim.
I can float.
But butterfly, like he was doing, I can do the butterfly underneath the water, all that. I would have been there. Okay, so that would have been me.
We just know to throw the hat in the air and Aquaman gonna come swimming up from somewhere.
So I really want to know why he threw that damn hat up in the air. Like
that was the signal to call the black. What he called the Black Avengers.
The Black Avengers. Oh my God.
Oh God. Okay. I got one more clip.
Today I thought I would go shopping for a firearm and ended up in Walmart. First one, a little too heavy, couldn't really get my angles right with it. Second one, I couldn't get mobile as I wanted to. I couldn't get vertical, you know. This one messed up my wrist when I swung it. When I tried to chase, the chase really didn't, it slowed me down a little bit. But then I found this beauty. Oh, it was perfect. Arch, my vertical was perfect. The crack, I could hear the crack on the head. I found my baby.
So I have about 10 folding chairs in my basement. They're all padded because I like to sit on padding, right? I just want to throw that out there. If you have a padded folding chair, you have to exert more force to have the same outcome. So know that when I smack your ass with my chair, I meant it.
Not unless you practice chair jitsu. That's the new thing now. They don't start a chair jitsu.
Oh my God.
So they've been talking about guns down, chairs up, right?
Oh my God.
I ain't gonna lie. I saw a video on TikTok today, or somebody shared a video. It might have been on Facebook, but they shared a video. And it was the white man and the black man fighting. This was like this video happened. It was yesterday. This man pulled out this chair and hit this white man about 3 times with this chair and knocked him out. So black folks is really carrying around chairs.
Y'all get on my nerves.
Oh God. They
Y'all
are
wasn't
really
allowed to
carrying around chairs instead of guns now. Like the one man. He said he went and got his CCWs. He had his chair hanging on the hip. Oh, I just
let
can't
people know
with
they
the
can get
internet.
it either which way.
They got chair earrings. I don't see chair shirts. I don't see the stickers that go on the people's windows. Talking about fuck around and find out with the chair in the middle. Y'all
seen
is
the
killing me
tattoo.
with these chairs.
I seen the tattoo.
All right, the tattoo. Like y'all are killing me with these chairs. I did have. I wanted to play
Go
this
ahead
video.
and play it. Go ahead.
No, because I didn't. No, and it's not related to the chair party thing.
Don't matter.
Okay, because it was a hillbilly in Walmart. I don't know which one of these videos is. I'm gonna try this
What
one.
kind of America is this? Yes, put it on Facebook. I have lived in Florida for 16 years, and let me tell you, I could write a book about the crazy shit that I've seen. One thing I haven't seen is a woman arrested on a mobility scooter in the middle of Walmart. That's a new one.
For some reason, the people that be on the little hover rounds in stores, they demand so much, and I don't know why.
Oh God. Oh God. He did have a video with this kid. This kid had on so much damn the kid was obviously black or yellow, caramel. But they put so much sunscreen on this kid, he looked white. And I wish I could
Oh my
remember
God.
which one. I don't know.
3, 2, 1.
Apparently that kid's arch enemy is his son. Melanoma does not stand a chance. Hell, he's got so much sunscreen on, I'm pretty sure he would survive a nuclear blast.
Oh, Debbie. Oh shit. Did y'all do mercy? That kid was dark. That was a black kid. And he looked like Michael Jackson with all that he looked like the white Michael Jackson with all that damn sunscreen.
I'm not gonna deal with you.
That water got so much. Oh God. That's it for this week's episode. Make sure y'all check us out on our social media accounts. It's listed below in the comments and everything. Shit. And don't forget to go get y'all special offers that's down below. Also, your 20% off, your 5 to 10% off. So thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cat Different Day podcast. I know we ain't do final thoughts, but maybe next week we'll do final thoughts. Y'all have a good week. We'll see y'all on the next one. Okay, all right now. Y'all have a good one. All right.